Before we get into today's episode, I want to remind you guys to head over to Substack, go to my show notes, click on the link, follow me on Substack. Right now, I'm doing a 7-day meditation challenge. Every day, you'll get a new meditation with some journal prompts and positive affirmation. So, today's episode, I am joined by my guest, Maggie Kitch. Maggie has been on my podcast 2 other times. Go to my show notes again, click on the link to listen to those 2 episodes. Maggie is an astrological advisor who focuses on making astrology feel understandable and applicable, whether she's breaking down current transitions, exploring astrological cycles, or helping people see themselves with more compassion and perspective. As the co-host of Celestial Curiosity, Maggie dives into culture, moments, and personal stories through an astrological lens, blending thoughtful analysis with a conversational, approachable style. Beyond astrology, she spends much of her time researching nutrition. I hope you enjoy this episode. We dive deep into the world of wellness, work, business, and everything in between. From the latest in fitness, nutrition, to the challenges of motherhood to managing stress, I cover it all. As we explore ways to enhance your physical health, nourish your mind, juggle the demands of modern life. Whether you're looking for a burst of inspiration or practical tips to overhaul your routine, you're in the right place. Let's get started on this journey together. I'm your host, Nikki Lannigan, and this is Fit, Fun, and Frazzled. Welcome back to Fit, Fun, and Frazzled. I'm your host, Nikki Lannigan, and I'm really excited to be joined by one of my friends, Maggie Kitch. Is this your third time or second?
I think it's the
Third?
third.
Yeah. Welcome back, Maggie. Thank you for joining us.
Oh my gosh. I'm so excited to be here. I'm excited that you're interested. I'm excited to share just a couple different little snippets of the astrology for 2026.
Yes. Before we dive into everything, can you tell my listeners who you are for the new listeners and what you do?
Absolutely. So, like Nikki said, my name is Maggie. I am a professional astrologer. I wear so many hats, though. I am a massage therapist, I'm a yoga teacher. I do some like digital creation of things on on the internet. So just lots of different things. I feel like it keeps my Sagittarius very engaged. I love kind of like I never get bored. That's for dang sure. So I astrology is probably my favorite of everything that I do. I love it for so many different reasons. I have used it with families before, my own family included, where I look at everyone's charts and say, all right, y'all are different. We need to embrace each other's difference instead of trying to force
Yeah.
ourselves to fit into, like if I'm a square, I don't want to try to fit into a circular hole. That's just not fair to me. It makes it so ultimately I feel resentful, and just celebrating like our differences. So working with families, understanding that like fosters really deep love and connection, and it just feels so good to remember that like I don't have to be like you and you don't have to be like me, and we can celebrate that. I also love working with businesses, so like business owners, entrepreneurs. We've used astrology to help people with like branding before, and also making the timelines and just very intentional, strategic planning and coordinating. I love that. I love being a problem
I
solver.
love that. Yeah.
I love putting intention behind everything that I do. And then one more, I am the co-host of an astrology podcast called Celestial Curiosities. That I'm almost done with my second year of that. The whole first
Wow.
season is all it's a living library. So we start in March. That is the beginning of the zodiac year. That's Aries season. It's spring.
Oh,
So through March, we talk about Aries, we talk about Mars, which is the ruling planet of Aries. We talk about fire. We talk about just as the wheel turns, we teach
mhm.
about it. So it's a good resource for
I
if
love
you're
that.
want to learn astrology. And then this year, we're kind of building on all of that. So we have interviews, we look at events and break down the charts. Like the Scorpio season episode was the Jonestown Massacre. That was one of my favorite ones. So yeah, it's a
I love
mouthful.
getting into all that. Yeah. Before we dive into just some astrological events to look at happening in 2026. I know you talk about this too, but and remind the listeners, like, we're not saying this to like scare anyone or like project anything. And I do want to touch on something because I know you've said this before. And in August, everyone does the Lionsgate portal. But is this a made up thing or a recent thing or
Ah, it's this whole social media thing is kind of a beast and
Mhm.
it makes it really easy. It's very useful, it's very practical, it's very helpful in spreading information, but it's also really great at like people just copy and paste what they see and turn
Yes.
it out. So the last Lionsgate portal, I just didn't like everything that I was seeing about it.
Hmm.
And so I looked into it and it's like it's kind of touted as an ancient practice. And from what I could find, like it's just kind of a recent thing that like gets clicks and
Hmm.
views. And of course it can be magical. I mean, the point
Yeah.
is the intention, but I think that
Hmm.
we need to just have a little bit of discernment and
Hmm.
wonder where things come from. I think maybe it's,
Yeah.
I can't remember now. I think it was like the 70s or 80s, but
Hmm.
it's not an ancient practice. It's something that
Yeah.
just kind of generates hype. We get like a hype machine going. And
Hmm.
I don't like to be manipulated with hype. I like to make my own decisions. So
Hmm.
you can use it for beauty and for intention and for whatever you want, but just know that there's just people that capitalize on it. They want to get clicks.
Yeah. That's the best thing, that people that are capitalizing on it. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
So where do you want to get started? Do you want to get started like anything that you have seen come up for 2026, or do you want to do it like January, or just anything that seems um I was gonna say like a strong energy or something, maybe. I don't know, whatever you have planned, you could go with. So the floor
Perfect.
is yours.
Thank you. So I think we're gonna just kind of make this into a bite size,
Yeah.
a bite size little bit of information, and I can come back and we can get deeper into these things if you
Hmm.
want. Today, I wanted to focus on Saturn and Jupiter.
Okay.
Um, these two planets are changing signs this year. That is, I mean, Jupiter changes signs once a year, roughly, unless it retrogrades, and then it's kind of bouncing back and forth between two signs. Saturn changes signs every 2.5 to 3 years. So this is it's there's going to be a shift. And usually I've found that when a planet such as Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, or Pluto, the further away ones, they're like bigger, they move more slowly. Um,
Hmm.
it's really palpable in the first little bit of change because it's different. So for
Yeah.
example, we're not going to get super into Neptune today. We can if you want to talk about it. But Neptune, none of us have been alive when Neptune was in Aries. Like the last time
Hmm.
Neptune was in Aries was 1875. So like no one is familiar with what that feels like to live under this energy. So these two planets, Saturn and Jupiter, are counterparts. Let's start there. Who are they? I think of
Yeah.
the planet's like a board of directors. They all have their own kind of function, their own little purpose, their own purview of things that they represent. The planets that are closer, that would be like the moon, and I know it's not a planet, but the bodies that are closer, the
Hmm.
moon, Mercury, Venus, Mars, they move pretty quickly. So I feel like yeah, we're sensitive to it, but it's like gone already, like it moves on. Jupiter and Saturn move a little bit more slowly. They're not quite as Pluto takes forever to get around. Like Pluto just recently got back to where it was in the sky when the United States was born. So that's like,
Oh wow.
gosh, he's
Yeah.
barely moves at all. Um, Jupiter and Saturn go together. They are kind of opposite ends of the spectrum. Saturn deals, I always think of the headmaster or the principal or the father figure. Like it's a more responsible, dutiful kind of energy. And that might not always be fun, but it's so, so, so important. Think about if you didn't have someone when you were growing up to teach you consequences. Like we would
Mm-hmm.
all be such crazy heathens if we didn't have
Yeah.
our dads, our teachers, our principals saying, all right, Nikki, you didn't do your homework, so you can't go to recess today. How would we ever learn anything if there wasn't
Yeah.
kind of like responsible energy?
Mm-hmm.
So everything has perks and pitfalls. So I like to say that some of the perks of Saturn are that self-discipline, that structure, that order, bringing, like making sense of things and putting things where they belong. Some of the pitfalls would be you feel restricted or limited, or like there's an obstacle. I also like to think of, like, I know I've talked to you about this, like conditioning. When you go to the gym
Mm-hmm.
and you're lifting weights, like that's really hard, but you get stronger. You build a stronger foundation for yourself. So all of that is related to Saturn. Then the other end of the spectrum would be Jupiter. This is like the Santa Claus energy and the Oprah energy that's like, you get a gift, you get a car, you get a car. And
Yeah.
it's optimistic and it's lighthearted and it's fun. Like Joe Rogan has, I don't know, some people like him, some people don't, but he has Jupiter close to his sun. That's like a really
Mm-hmm.
big personality. So those two kind of balance each other out. And I have a lot of astrology books, but one that I've used a lot is this Business Astrology by Georgia Anastathis. And
Mm-hmm.
just like the sun and moon have a cycle, we have full moons, we have new moons, Jupiter and Saturn also have a cycle as well. So that's kind of be where we focus. That's a lot. We could talk for hours about this.
Yeah.
Um, I want to start with Saturn. We'll talk about
Okay.
Saturn, then Jupiter, and then the cycle and how they're connected with each other. So Saturn, like I said, very responsible, very dutiful. This, when you pull up someone's chart and you look to see where Saturn is sitting in their natal chart, you get clues about the area of your life that you're most likely to experience a little extra responsibility, or that area of your life where you're doing the conditioning over this window of time. If you don't know where it falls in your chart, you can look to see where it is just in the sky. Right now, it's in the later degrees of Pisces. It is, let me see, at 25 degrees of Pisces. So if you don't know anything about your chart, that's fine. You can know that this is where Saturn is right now. And
Mm-hmm.
if we are dealing with responsibility, if we're dealing with restructuring and reordering and kind of bringing boundaries to things, that it's we're bringing order to all things related to Pisces. Now, let me know if I'm going too fast.
No.
Okay.
Does it have to, do we have to know like Pisces characteristics or anything?
Yeah, so we'll break that down.
Okay.
Pisces is a water sign. All water signs, Pisces, Cancer, Scorpio, are very connected to feelings. If you think about the element water, like if you put water in a container, it's going to get down to the deepest point of the container. It
Mm-hmm.
just is. So with water, whether it's in the sky right now or it's a part of who you are, there's some depth there. There's some emotionality there. There's like a little bit of a slower to process. Like you want to feel it.
Mm-hmm.
You want to meet it and see how it feels so you know how to respond to it. The other elements don't behave that way. Think about fire. It doesn't have, it just goes where it wants to go. It goes where
Yeah.
there's fuel. So you don't,
Mm-hmm.
if you have a fiery person, the element fire doesn't go up to a stop sign and turn left and then think about what's next. It's just going to tear through. So people born with a lot of fire in their charts are kind of like that. Um, there was a lady in my astrology, one of my astrology trainings that had like all Leo, and she was always kind of like interrupting. I'm like, hey, I have a question. And she just like, it's action oriented. You want to do
Yeah.
something when you feel something. Water's a little bit slower. It wants to
Mm-hmm.
like think about that trickling the trickling power of water and how it's gradual, and over time it softens the corners of rocks and it like makes its own pathway. So that's where we have our responsibility right now, is to connect with that part of ourselves. It's to maybe practice self-discipline around our feelings. Maybe this is a good time for therapy, finding a really good person, and not even like, you don't have to pay a therapist. Like there's different kinds of therapy, you know, you can call up a girlfriend, call up your mom, do some journaling, but just bringing order to how you do feeling. Now, Pisces it's water. It's got its own fine-tuned energy compared to Scorpio and Cancer. So Pisces is the fish. The symbol is two fish swimming in opposite directions. So that kind of energy, I think of Albert Einstein. He had Pisces, and there are so many stories about him, like just kind of aloof. Like he'd be walking to class and stop to talk to a student, and then he'd be like, after the conversation, like, do you remember where I was going? Like where where was I in my day? Pisces, also the fish, like if you think about whether you're religious or not, is associated with Jesus and like that Christ energy. And that is connected to compassion for all. It's about caring about your neighbor and like the golden rule, and just trying to have, like, he hung out with hookers. Like that's a very understanding kind of a person. So we with Pisces, we get into those realms. And so with Saturn, the board of director expressing itself at like with the energy of Pisces, we're maybe learning how to refine that part of ourselves. This is learning how to instill boundaries. And I feel like boundaries was kind of a buzzword for a little bit. And I've got a kitty that is trying to get into my lap. Where to go away? There we go. Just like the planets, we can have perks and pitfalls with boundaries. Like we can weaponize boundaries, and we can hold them over people and be like, you must honor this boundary. And that doesn't end up being really helpful for anybody, right? But if we have no boundaries, it's not helpful either. So this Saturn moved into this sign. We've been dealing with this topic of bringing order to that part of ourselves. March 7th, 2023. So if we just take a moment to think back over the last 2 years ish, and just wonder, maybe even it's like 3 years almost. How have you done boundaries over the last 2.5 years? How have you dealt with your emotions? How have you, I also think when I think of Pisces, I kind of think of mist, like it's water droplets, but it's spread out. It's like, you can like put your hand through it and not get wet. It's so we kind of get a little bit more porous when we're dealing with Pisces. So we can feel the discontent in the room. We can feel the sadness from our neighbor. We can feel the pressure that our fellow humans are feeling, whether you're looking at social media or the news or your email or not. Like it's just a little bit easier to be affected by all of the chaos that is swirling around us. So Saturn is there asking us to figure it out. How are we going to deal with this? This probably isn't going to stop. Like, I don't think Facebook's going to go away. I don't think Instagram's going to go away. I don't think the news, like that's so profitable, they're not going to take that down. So we need to figure out a way to bring a little bit of order, a little bit of self-discipline as it relates to that area of our lives. And likely since March of 2023, that's probably been a really big obstacle for many people. So I feel like, can I share a video? Do you have videos?
Yeah.
I can use my words too.
You could share it. It could be on YouTube, and Spotify shows video too, so you would see video.
Awesome. Okay, let me send a little request. And I'll describe it too for anyone that's listening. So we're looking at a chart right now. Saturn is at 25 degrees of Pisces. It entered Pisces, like I said, March 7th, 2023. And it left Pisces temporarily in May of this year. It changed signs for just a moment on March 24th. So on March 24th, Saturn was actually at 0 degrees of Aries. We see it right up here. It's right up by Neptune. And so it ended its transit into or through the sign of Pisces. So as time goes forward, it continues to advance. It's going to get more and more into Aries. However, planets station retrograde periodically.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't remember exactly when it's stationed, but in September of this year, I think September 1st of 2025, it had gotten so far into Aries and then it's stationed retrograde, which means that from our perspective, if you were charting it in the sky, it would look like it suddenly just started going backwards. It's an illusion. It doesn't actually
Uh-huh.
change direction. But we had just a small window of time between May of 2025 and September of 2025. We got a little preview of what Saturn and Aries feels like. On September
Mm-hmm.
1st, it did go back into the sign. So right now in current day on November 24th, when we're recording this,
Mm-hmm.
it's back in Pisces again. And we have this little stretch of time left where if you haven't been paying attention to boundaries, if you haven't been paying attention to emotions or kind of separating out other people's gunk from your gunk, we can practice that. It will be in Pisces until February 13th of 2026. So between now and February, if that's something that you've avoided, if that's something that's been tough for you, if it's something that has you just haven't had the awareness to examine that part of yourself, this is a really prime time to make that a priority, to figure
Mm-hmm.
out, okay, I want to bring a little bit more order to my emotional experience. What does that mean for me? Am I going to journal? Am I going to therapy? Am I going to dive into my spiritual practices, whether that's tapping or meditating, like all of that kind of more ethereal stuff. It's just prime time to bring order. Make sure that you are giving yourself time to do the self-discipline around those things. What's your favorite way to kind of organize your emotional self?
Working out and meditation.
Yeah,
I do go in cycles with journaling, and I feel like when the winter time comes, I journal more than any other time.
I love that. That's so
Yeah.
perfect.
What
I
about yours?
I'm the same. Like it just kind
Yeah.
of depends. I try to let myself just do what feels right. So
Hmm.
I don't always have a lot of I guess my discipline would be always setting time aside to do it, no matter what it is.
Yeah. That's
I
what, yeah.
Some people don't. I've heard people say like, I don't know what to journal about. I don't know, like, how do you even know? There's lots of different methods. You can just do free writing, 3 minutes. Like I'm going to be writing and just whatever weird things come out, come out. But I have a couple different like Oracle decks where I don't know if Lisa Morton has given you Lindsay Frucci's. There's a beautiful deck that one of her
Hmm.
friends made, and each card has a couple of journaling prompts. So I'll just shuffle it up and draw a card and then look at the little booklet and see what the prompts are. And without fail, it's like when you read your horoscope, you're like, oh my God, this was for me, like I needed this.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's one way that you can work with that. So after February 13th, Saturn is going to be changing signs. So actually, before we get into Saturn and Aries, I want to think back over just kind of on the world stage a little bit between March 2023 and now. If you think about like what's been going on in the world, lots. um,
Hmm.
But there was a lot of disasters related to water over this
Oh
last
yeah.
chunk of time. I know there was like flooding in Texas around
Hmm.
some holiday, July 4th,
I
maybe.
think so.
There was
I think so.
those double back-to-back hurricanes, like the tropical storm Helene and then Hurricane Milton.
Hmm.
A lot of those towns are still really destroyed from the water.
Yeah.
And I just think that that is a really, it represents what water can do if we don't have order around it. Like
Hmm.
our emotional bodies, we can destroy just like the water destroyed those towns if we don't practice flexing that muscle, if we don't practice
Hmm.
kind of organizing that part of ourselves. I think that that just goes to show how important it is to make sure that we have awareness around our internal waters. So
That's so true.
yeah. And I mean, that might seem a little bit dramatic. Like
No.
I'm probably not going to destroy the town because I'm
You're
crying, but
right.
you know, like I can certainly destroy my life if I let my
Hmm.
emotions get out of control. So
That's my new like favorite mantra I've been saying for like the past year, maybe, yeah, past year, is peace begins with me.
mm,
And I feel like,
oh,
yeah.
that kind of makes me want to cry.
Uh-huh. So I
Wow.
really feel that. And it helps me so I don't react too, because I have a tendency of holding things in and I'll react to something so little that I'm like, wait a second, I didn't react to this other thing. But so I'm just always like, okay, you have to take care of what's going on in yourself so
Mm.
you don't erupt like on everyone else.
Right. And like unleash the waters, the floods. Like
Hmm. Yeah.
it is easy. It's like the straw that broke the camel's back.
Yeah.
And
Hmm.
the way that we live, just how fast, like there's so much to do. We have a lot to
Hmm.
keep track of. We have social calendars, we have work calendars, we have to make sure that we're grocery shopping and exercising, and it's just a lot. So
Hmm.
I feel like it's really easy. There's a yoga sutra, I can't remember which one, but it's something to the effect of like there is action in inaction
Hmm.
and there is inaction in action. So I feel like all this action that we do all the time kind of numbs us down a little bit. It makes it easy to bottle those things up because it's like really inconvenient to have to
Yeah.
stop because we'll get behind and then it's like
Hmm.
oh this big frazzly mess. So
Yeah.
um that is yeah, that's what I want to say about Saturn in Pisces. So think about your own life. If you're listening, think about the last 2.5 years. Just think about how many times there has been a flood, so to speak, an
Hmm.
eruption of water from you. Think about the people around you. Maybe you've experienced someone in your life has had some various floods over the year. Just think about that, the emotional discipline. Think about your spiritual practices, the things that you do to help quiet down and like connect with you, get everyone else's stuff out. Because with Pisces, another way to think of Pisces energy is that vanilla ice cream. You put a scoop of vanilla, a scoop of chocolate, a scoop of strawberry in a bowl, and like there's no way to differentiate. Like that vanilla just takes on everything. And
Hmm.
we do that when we are under Pisces influence. So just making time to get all the other flavors out would be
Yeah,
better.
you're really good at explaining things with analogies that like make sense.
Thank you. It's hard to know. Like I can explain it, but I don't always know how to like, okay, there's chocolate and pistachio and strawberry right now, and I don't know how to get them out. I know they're there.
Yeah.
Okay, so that was we'll do a little bit of reflection with that one, just look back at your life, and now we're going to look forward a little bit.
Hmm.
So starting in February 13th, 2026, Saturn will move into Aries, and it will transit that sign until April of 2028. So this will just be the next couple of years. Same thing. Saturn is still bringing order. It's still bringing discipline. It's still bringing structure. Sometimes it gives you obstacles and roadblocks if you've been avoiding the actual work on something. Like that's where the
Hmm.
headmaster comes in and is like, you can't keep sweeping this under the rug. Like it's going to keep coming back and it's probably going to get bigger each time. So
Yeah.
if you find yourself experiencing an obstacle, instead of getting mad at things outside of you, just wonder, like, is this something I've been brushing along for a while? And if it is,
Mhm.
what can I do about it? So then this is Aries. This is different. This is like Pisces and Aries. I just don't think you could have two more different signs. Pisces is that dreamy, like imaginative, misty, and then Aries is
Mhm.
the the ram. Like it just slams
Mhm.
head into things. They have different approaches. Aries kicks off spring, and if you think about that, like you can't stop spring from coming,
Yeah.
and you certainly cannot stop an Aries from being an Aries. Like you and as we live under that energy, I think it'll just be interesting to see what it feels like as that shift. Because remember, like right in the beginning of it. So if that happens in February, I think that especially if you're a sensitive person, February, March, April, things will just, it might feel a little bit like, ooh, I don't know what it is, but something is different, you know?
Yeah.
Um, Aries is fire, so it burns, it's action oriented, it notices something or feels something and it wants to respond right away. It doesn't have the
Mhm.
inclination to want to process and see. It's similar in that it goes on feeling. I would say that
Mhm.
Pisces is a little bit more like intuition, Aries is a little bit more like instinct, like that kind of raw primal. um yeah, the planet associated with Aries is Mars, which is the god of war. So it's just yeah. I know a lot of different Aries in my life, and like sometimes I'm intimidated because I'm like,
Okay.
it's a very direct, very blunt,
Mhm.
very action oriented. I take a little bit more time. So I always feel like I'm going to be like holding them back, or like I'm going to be the
Mhm.
obstacle that slows them down. And I mean, I just have to work through that because some of that is a lie. Aries is the first sign of the zodiac, and the phrase that is associated with Aries is I am. So this is about identity, it's about individuality. If Pisces is like the Christ consciousness, the group, the collective, the big dream of it all, Aries is more
Mhm.
finite. It's like the individual, the you, the ego. Um, Identity is a good word. So, if we have the responsible, dutiful planet in Aries, our responsibility is going to have something to do with our identities, with who we are, with our physicality, with our passion and our courage, and how we exert like war in our own lives. And war isn't,
Mhm.
I don't mean that in a scary way. I mean that in the sense of like how you pursue what you desire, how you stand up for yourself. That's very different
Mhm.
than that soft, gentle, dreamy Pisces energy. So I think that over February 2026 through April 2028, there's going to be lots of opportunities to practice self-reliance, self-discipline, defining your individual identity, and
Mhm.
I feel like that's a really, I can just see that in how people are interacting with the world right now. And I want to give an example. And I don't want to be too blunt, speaking of Aries.
Oh, it's fine. Yeah.
But like some of this, I am apolitical and we're not going to
Mhm.
get into politics, but some of this, like make America healthy again. I think that I think we should all strive to be healthy no matter
Yeah.
what you believe in. I think I think it's so important. Um but I think that it can get a little bit like we're outsourcing to, like, now the politicians fixed it. I don't need to look at the ingredients. I don't need to, like, America is healthy again. So I can just go to Steak and Shake because they made it healthy. They took the tallow
Yeah.
out,
Mhm.
and they might have switched their frying whatever to tallow, but if you go look at the ingredients list on the website, the potatoes are processed with seed oil still. So this is
Mhm.
like, that is not the point is bigger of what I'm trying to make is we you
Yeah.
can't give yourself over to other people, assuming that they did their job. Like, we have to become stronger in our own desire to care for ourselves. We can't wait. You can't wait for someone outside of you to make you healthy. Like, you have to be the source of that. And so I hope that wasn't triggering for anybody.
No.
Just listening. I think that, so that's all the perk, the empowering part of it. We have to strive. We have to care about ourselves. We have to take our lives into our own hands. It's all very like self-centered, but that obviously we can take too far, and it gets bad. Like, we become overly selfish and like refusing to consider what other people are experiencing and how we're affecting other people. So this next couple years is going to be about trying to find the sweet spot between those two very opposite ends of the spectrum. As I was taking notes for this feels a little bit like puberty, like adolescence to
Okay,
me.
yeah.
This, like, I don't know who to believe. I don't know who I am. Like, how do I get back to my core identity? And that just takes a little time. It takes some awareness and some recognition, and some practice. So I think that can be tough with the social media beast and the news beast and the getting an information, the Lionsgate portal, and I'm going to copy and paste this and churn it back out into the system. Like, we need some of our ideas to come from our own hearts and from our own wisdom. And that requires you to investigate a little bit and not just accept what someone outside of you is saying. So if we think back to what it was like to be a teenager, that's just uncomfortable. Like, I didn't know anything. I still don't know anything, but I feel a little bit more comfortable.
Yes, you do.
Comfortable with myself. If we look back in time, the last time that Saturn was in Aries was 1996 through 1999. There was that big .com boom then. Like, we're able to put more pieces of ourselves out there to be received by the world. It's a little bit easier to assert our own identities. If you think about like MySpace, you could like change the background and the screen and add music and like just customize it for yourself. It's kind of what we'll be doing a little bit. I think that there was also I think there was a lot of like antitrust stuff going on, so protecting the individual. I think people weren't trusting. I think the Lewinsky scandal was then, so like distrust in leadership, because Aries is associated with war, and there's an element of leadership to that too. So learning to balance, not relying on a leader, but I guess like becoming your own leader. Because if we become our own leaders, if we act in ways that are authentic and true to our own identities, I feel like our leadership is going to get better too. I feel like the leaders that we see, I think it's just a stage, like the Kardashians. But I think that I think it's a reflection of where we are at. And so if we can get stronger in our own identities in a balanced way that isn't just completely selfish, but also isn't lacking self, like, I think that we're going to start to see improvements outside of ourselves as well, because I just think the outside is a reflection of what we've got going on inside.
I do too. I think like more like intuitive. And then I already feel like I'm kind of seeing it. Like, people are like not pushing back with influencers, but they're questioning influencers. Like, why, like, I have discount codes too, so I'm not going to knock that, but like, why should I use all of your discount codes that you're saying you're using and you're getting paid for, and it's going to make me healthier or something like that? Like, taking back your power a little bit, but like you said, not being selfish, like a balance between it.
It's such a, like, that kind of breaks my brain a little bit. It's not, I don't think it's a black and white. I think it's a spectrum, and we can slide any way on the spectrum at any given moment, any given time. So I think that just self-awareness too, that
Hmm.
Aries is going to be, I always think that's important, but I think it's going to be especially empowering during this time.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
with all of what you do, yoga, fitness, and some of the more like ethereal things, how do you guide
Hmm.
people? Um, how do you help people to become more self-aware? Because it is distracting out here.
Yeah. Meditate
Mm.
is the number one. Meditation and breath work, coming back to that. I used to, I mean, I just haven't done it, practice in a while. More Kundalini based, and that helped people. I just kind of got away from Kundalini a little bit. Um, and so, I mean, I still would teach it. I just don't practice it myself. So I think coming back to meditation, affirmations are a big one for me. And
Mm.
then yoga nidra, I'm really into that now. And it just
Mm.
helps quiet your mind. And so with affirmations, people think I'm like skipping all around.
I
With
love it.
affirmations, people think it's just like boom, you're gonna rewire your brain. No. Do I always believe what I'm saying? No. Do I allow myself to have bad days and crappy days and be in a horrible mood and sad and mad and angry? Yes. Like
Mm.
that's what you have to do. You actually have to feel your feelings,
Mm.
and then you could create space for other things. And that's what I think the affirmations are helping you do. So since I've started doing affirmations every single day, even when I'm on vacation, and meditating, even if it's meditating for 3 minutes, 3 or 4 minutes, it has seriously helped me. It's helped like me trust my own intuition, trust my own inner guidance.
Mm.
Um, I do think a lot of this, I do, when I had kids, my kids are older. I didn't have social media when my oldest was a baby. So I
Mm.
didn't have everyone out there saying the stuff. And then my youngest is 14. She's going to be 15 next month. I think I got into Instagram. I probably was Pinterest first, Pinterest, and then Instagram when she was a baby.
Oh.
And then that was like more like, what in the world, but I didn't have that noise in the background. I did watch like Real Housewives of Orange County, and I would be feeding her in the middle of the night and stuff, but like
Uh-huh.
I didn't have anything else. So I'm
Mm.
lucky on that front that I
Uh-huh.
didn't have every noise in the background.
Do your girls use social media?
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
Um, they haven't, when a few years ago, maybe it was, they were saying carbs are bad and this is bad. And they were in the whole Bloom thing, Bloom and Lemmy, the supplements, and
Okay.
like Kourtney Kardashian, Lemmy, and then Bloom is something.
Uh,
I've kind of like taught them, well, not my youngest. My youngest doesn't do supplements yet because I'm buying her stuff. My oldest works, so she could buy her own stuff now.
okay.
But, I've tried to teach her,
Mm.
um, you don't need these supplements.
Mm.
I'm not saying I'm against all supplements. Like she just
Mm.
doesn't need those supplements right now. She doesn't need a detox right now, like that kind of
Yeah.
stuff.
It's I feel like it's a lot of really good marketing, and really good
Hmm.
marketing is very
And it's
psychological.
at Target, these huge displays at Target.
Exactly. It's kind of crazy.
Hmm.
Okay, so what would be a couple affirmations that people could say to guide themselves back to themselves? Like if you had a client that was just like, I can't figure out what I want. I can't figure out how I feel. I can't figure
Hmm.
out like any identity related things. Just maybe I'm putting you on the spot. I hope not. But
I think it would be I trust myself to slow down and
mm,
rest. It's safe
mm,
to slow down and rest.
okay.
Because when you do that, I think you do come back to more clarity. If you ever
Mm,
see, like, you're in the shower and ideas come to your head, or you're outside on a walk, not listening to anything, ideas come to you. I
hmm
think like Saturday mornings when the kids are still sleeping and I'm sitting on the couch and my husband's watching like ESPN or something, ideas come to me and I'm on my phone like writing it down. He's always like, what are you doing already? I'm like, I have just an
I have
Instagram
ideas.
post came to mind, a podcast idea came to mind,
Oh,
just
yeah.
ideas come like that.
Okay. I like that. I trust myself. I feel like that's a really,
Hmm.
that alone, like my goodness, it's, I think we've been led to believe that we can't make determinations for ourselves. Like we have to go to the
Hmm.
doctor, and the doctor will tell you. And I'm not
Yeah.
saying that like we shouldn't, whatever.
Yeah,
I'm
no.
just saying that like you're the one that's in your body. You have to
Hmm.
learn what you feel and what you're thinking and
Hmm.
just how to come back to self. And it's not selfish to come back to self.
Yeah, that's a
Um,
good one. It's not selfish to come back to self.
Look at us.
Yeah.
I love that. Okay, so before we move on, 1996 through 1999, what do you think of when you think of that time frame?
Graduating high school, Biggie Smalls,
Yeah, Biggie Smalls.
Tupac. Yeah.
Those are really good Aries, like that kind of aggressive, assertive, like
Hmm.
hood rap, I feel like is kind of
Yeah.
An Aries vibe.
Hmm.
Okay. That's awesome. Okay, so that was just Saturn. So
Hmm.
we'll get into Jupiter. Do you have any questions about Saturn?
No. Mm-mm.
Okay. Okay. So if that we just got into the structure, the order, the disciplinarian, now we're gonna flip to the other side of the spectrum. This is Jupiter. It's expansion, it's growth, it's joy and optimism and like generosity, that really giving, larger than life kind of energy. Um, as we start the year 2026, Jupiter will be in the sign of Cancer. And let me just double check that because I've been bopping around time and I just want to make sure I'm not wrong. Um, yes, Jupiter, it's currently retrograding. So if you were to look up in the sky right now and you were familiar with its pathway, it would look like it's going backwards. Um, as we move into 2026, it's going to still be retrograde. So it's that time frame isn't the most like outwardly productive time, which is that's what winter is supposed to be. It's supposed to be a little bit more internalized. We're like
Hmm.
connecting with darkness that is inside of us. If we don't ever go in there, we can't excavate anything. We can't, it's just like that stuffing down, bottling up thing that's so easy to do
Hmm.
because we're distracted by all the action. So we're not really
Yeah.
active on the inside. So don't be, people get worried about like, I'm not producing enough and I'm not making any progress. I think Jupiter retrograde can feel like, I would imagine if you lifted a car off the ground and like hit the gas, like your tires are spinning so fast but like you're not moving anywhere. It's okay. There's nothing
Hmm.
that is in progress all the time. Like we have to learn to be at peace with that and at ease with that.
Yeah.
So let me see when it stations direct just so I can tell. It will be February 4th. So there's kind of a lot going on in February. We've got
Hmm.
Saturn moving into Aries and then Jupiter stationing direct. So that is like just right before spring. It's right before that like fresh burst of life comes back to this northern hemisphere up here. Um, when Jupiter, the planet of expansion and joy and like just positivity, is in Cancer, we can assume that we get to experience Jupiter's energy through that lens. So that would be connecting with our feelings. Cancer's a water sign. It's also an initiatory water sign. It starts the summer season. So there's I don't know, it's like the home base feels really good, I would guess.
Hmm.
Or I would say that way. Cancer, it deals with the mother and parents and like your ancestors, the roots of your very existence. So this
Hmm.
is, I think that we can get joy and growth and expansion and optimism by connecting with our roots, our lineage, our ancestors, maybe not even like literally, you don't need to host a family reunion. You can imagine what our ancestors lived like and just try
Mhm.
to emulate that. I think people with white skin, mostly, if you think about like where we came from, there wasn't fruits and vegetables growing outside. So this
Mhm.
is like, just be curious, like how did they deal with that? How did they live? I
Mhm.
just did a whole bunch of research on the like winter solstice holiday. Around that time, December 21st, people had run out of food to feed their animals. So they like slaughtered some of their livestock so they didn't have to keep overextending themselves. They had a big
Mhm.
feast. They exchanged gifts. They like made it into this big celebration of the abundance of the season before. So getting
Mhm.
into February, March, like that's when ancient peoples did Lent and Ramadan. It's all connected. They were out of food, like
Yeah.
they were giving things up, and that
Yeah.
is, our bodies clean out during that time. So you can
Mhm.
connect with your ancestors like that. It doesn't need to be if family triggers you, if you don't feel close. Like there's so many ways that you can go back to the very roots of your existence and just be curious, try things on, see how it feels. I think I got influenced into fasting a long time ago, and I don't do it anymore because I am not an appropriate weight to do it. I thought that like it was a one size fits all operation. And
Mhm.
if you're going to be fasting, I think it's really important for you to investigate a little bit and just make sure that, and it's not that I was following random Joe Blows on Instagram. It was doctors,
Yeah.
it was physicians, but I
Mhm.
I was missing the point. Like you can't
Mhm.
just apply one thing to all bodies. So I feel like I got a little bit off off topic.
No.
But so that's where that kind of thing, connecting with our emotional baseline, our private life, our feelings, our like nurturing selves. If
Mhm.
there's connected to mother, I think that we can all find joy in remothering ourselves, like nurturing how you would nurture your child. Take some of that energy and bring it to yourself. That can be hard to do, I would assume, as a mother, because you guys have a lot of other things to think about. But how nice would it be if you could show that same love and attention and care to you? Think about how healing that could be. um
Mhm.
so Cancer, or Jupiter, will be moving through that sign of Cancer until July. And then in July, it's going to change signs into Leo. This is another fire sign. So we'll have Saturn in fire, we'll have Jupiter in fire. So I think that this year there will be a lot of opportunities to take action. I think there are a lot of opportunities to like play with our personal flair of expressing. Leo energy is
Mhm.
connected with the lion, and like, gosh, the lion has a strong expression of self. I think you can hear
Mhm.
their roar for like miles. Um, so I think that we can look to that kind of energy. You can make a Leo mood board and just, if that's not a comfortable energy for you, if being perceived by people, like there's a lot of theater and dramatics that come along with Leo. And like, if you're performing, it's a little bit performative. How, like, are you your cheerleader, or are you looking for validation from your audience,
Mhm.
so I think that not only can that bring joy, but I think it can bring growth and expansion. So that will be for the remainder of the year. Jupiter will move through that fun, fiery, flashy Leo sign. Leo's connected with not only self-expression, but like creative things, and like you create your children. So there's like inner child stuff. We're doing the mothering in the first part of the year
Mhm.
ourselves, and then we get to play as our inner child in the second part of the year. So that will be
I
really
love that.
yeah. And then let me see. Do you have any questions about Jupiter and Leo?
No. Mm-mm.
Okay. Um, I have talked to lots of different people that kind of think about their inner child and connect with their inner child in different ways. So I think that Nikki would probably be a really good resource if you're listening and you're like, I don't know what that means. Like, how do I do that? I
Yeah.
think she could be someone that you could consult with and try to like peel some of those layers back, because some of us had to be really responsible as children and we
Mm-hmm.
really got to like play. And I feel like if you're a mom too, you spend such a significant amount of time being the nurturer that it's easy to forget how to play and like what's fun and what are
Yeah.
my hobbies, how am I entertained, and
Mm-hmm.
um we can be a little practice that like self-centered energy
Mm-hmm.
in that capacity. So
Yeah.
I think that'll be
I
fun.
think it's just like with females too. We tend to be the nurturer and caretaker, and we forget to have fun.
Yeah. Yeah, so I think that's such an important, if you're not having fun, there's a whole like subsection of life
Mm-hmm.
that you're missing out on. That's a part
Yeah.
of all of our charts. Like it doesn't
Mm-hmm.
matter if you have planets in Leo or not, it's still a part of you. So I think
Mm-hmm.
life can just be more fun if you know how to play.
Yeah.
And playing looks different too. Like I like to I like to like be productive with my girlfriends. I like to have something to work on and like something to
Mm-hmm.
strive towards. So it just there's lots of different ways to play and be creative in that way. Um, so I'm gonna share one more time this chart just to show the relationship between the relationship between Saturn and Jupiter right now. We'll update it to now. We've got Saturn at 25 degrees of Pisces, and we've got Jupiter at 24 degrees of Cancer. So that's what we call a trine. They have a really nice, harmonious relationship between them. So, at least right now, while we're recording, it's a little bit easier to maybe sacrifice instant gratification for like this bigger goal, this bigger pursuit, this bigger thing that you know will come to you if you say no to a couple of immediate things. Um, the nature of these two planets over the course of 2026, they are 30, 60, 90, 120 degrees away from each other. That puts them like if we were looking at them as we would look at the moon cycle, that would be like the first quarter moon. So that gives another clue about the nature of the energy of this time. So I'm just going to read a short paragraph from this book, the business astrology. And of course, like I think we're all a little bit entrepreneurial. If you have a life,
Yeah.
then like you have to make decisions for yourself.
Yeah.
So even if you're not a business owner, I think it still applies. The first quarter phase usually is an indicator of managerial ability. It implies someone who works with or creates structures and frameworks where they work. They are good at defining and executing structure. This is the type of personality who has a game plan and sticks to it. The work style tends to be structured and targeted. The push of this first quarter energy has at its base motivation to get things done, even though these very actions can create crises and resistance from others. So that is just the nature of this year. The relationship between
Mm-hmm.
those two planets, I think that we can expect a little bit of that throughout this
Okay.
year. So just think as we go into winter, as we get into the solstice time, as we get into the new year, whatever, like as we're doing the dormant thing, I think we can be kind of putting some of these structures and systems in place that it mentioned. We don't need to
Mm-hmm.
execute everything. We don't need to make progress right away. But I think that as we're dormant, I think it could be really beneficial to think about that. Like, if this is
Yeah.
where I'm going, and work backwards from there. Just think about some of the stepping stones that need to be in place for you to get from where you are to where you want to go.
I love that.
That was a lot of information.
Oh no, it's great. I love it.
And there's a lot of other astrological things going on this year, which if you want, we can do another episode. Uranus is moving into Gemini. I feel like a lot of people are talking about that on social media. So just be mindful, because again, I mean, it's really good marketing. People want you to look at their stuff
Is
and
that the big one that like The wars.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I think
Yeah.
there's a lot, I think most of the times that the Uranus was in Gemini in the United States, there was some type of big war conflict going on. So
Hmm.
that's like, that gets a lot of views. So
Yeah.
I've had to kind of pull back, and
Hmm.
I can get spiral out with the predictive stuff. And like,
Hmm.
there have been so many times where I've looked at different politicians' charts and I'm like, oh my God, they're going to be executed this year. They're going to be assassinated this year. And like, I don't think you can fine tune it that much. So
Yeah.
if you're looking at posts and it's about the future and it's like elevating your heart rate a little bit and you start
Hmm.
to want to pull on this thread, I think that's a good sign that you might be being marketed to. So
Yeah.
I think, and
That's
again,
good
I think that
information. Yeah.
what's happening outside of us is just kind of a reflection with what's going on the inside. And if you're like begging for a war, like and the negativity and the fear, I think the universe just kind of keeps feeding that back to you.
Hmm.
So just just pay attention. I would be happy to do another like full episode on that if you want to talk about that
Yeah.
one. But I thought that this was a good
Yeah.
place
This
to
is
start for the
good. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, get
Yeah.
people in the to think about and something because this will come out Wednesday this week. So everyone listening to this, you could start planning your 2026, and it's a good time, end of November, beginning of January, beginning of December, if you feel like journaling, just what Maggie said, you could journal and think about where you want to go and stuff for
Mhm.
2026.
Yeah. And I think we try really hard to manhandle our way through winter. Like it's fun.
Hmm.
I love the Christmas lights, but it's supposed to be dark out there. Like
Yeah.
it's we can't I don't it's this isn't a time to power through, I don't think.
Hmm.
We can do that. I mean, like we're not smarter than nature. I think nature is showing us what she wants us to do. Like it's dark
Hmm.
early right now. I don't feel guilty about going to bed at 8 o'clock because I'm like, if God wanted
Yeah.
me awake, it would be bright outside, you know?
Yeah.
Like I really try to taper it back, and it's hard because it feels like it's easy to beat myself up like I'm not being productive enough and I'm not and
Hmm.
I think that nature is showing us we what we should be doing. I don't like to say should, but you know.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Where can everyone find you? And I'll leave all of this in the show notes. And I'll leave our other two episodes too, the links there if they want to go back and listen to those. Because I think our first one, we actually talked about retrogrades too. So if people want to learn more about that, they could go to that episode too.
Awesome. I That's a really good idea. I post much more on my Celestial Curiosities Instagram page right now. That might change. I kind of go through ebbs and flows with things.
Mhm.
I try to do a forecast post every week just to talk about a different theme that's active during the week to help get a little bit reflective, a little bit aware of the potential of the week. My co-host Melly and I drop a new episode about every week on Celestial Curiosities. And then my website is www.opportunemoon.com, and you can see just different offerings that I have on there. I do offer astrology readings. I do offer like transit readings so we can look at 2026 and see where these planets are going to be activating your chart. If there's things going like we can talk about a little bit more specifics to you if that's something you're interested in. I've done that with Nikki before and I just love it. It's one of my favorite things to
I
do.
love that.
So
And
thank
she
you so
did
much.
it with one of our friends, Lisa, who just published a book. And didn't you tell her, go through and tell her the day to publish it? Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yes, she was like, I might ask you. And I was like, on it. Like, there's people used astrology for everything in ancient times. Like,
Hmm.
I have full books on it's almost like farmer's almanac type stuff. Like, if you're trying to sell a house, like, do it under this moon and avoid this. And if you want to have a son, like, if you want to bring your cattle in to pasture, like, it was everything. And there's still cultures that use it I think Indian cultures use it in marriages. Like they have to have their charts
Oh,
drawn up in some, some groups of people. So
yeah,
I just love that. I think it's so amazing.
I love it too.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for taking the time out to come on here again and joining us and sharing everything for 2026.
Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you for tuning into this week's episode with Maggie Kitch. Please go to my show notes, click on the links where to find Maggie, subscribe to her podcast. And if you enjoyed this episode, please go leave a 5-star rating and a review wherever you listen to your podcast and share it with someone else you think might listen to it. You guys have an amazing week, have an amazing day, and take care of yourself.